All right, guys, real quick, let's talk. I got something on my mind. You know, when something on my mind, I got to speak about it. Okay. Y'all see this image right on my right, to my right. That is a picture of a 3.6 Pentastar. Yes, guys, that is the flagship engine, FCA or Dodge or Stellantis or whatever you want to call it. The flagship V6 version gasoline powered engine that they use the most. It is very popular. All right. Now, what I'm going with this is there's a company. I don't want to pronounce their name because I may mispronounce it. You will get the picture as this video go along. Okay. They have come out with numerous upgrades. Okay. Now, I want to put this out there in the open. I want to mention this. I want to say this up front. Guys, hear me out. Listen to me very carefully. I have nothing against upgrades. Okay. Upgrades. In my opinion, upgrades. What does upgrade mean? What do upgrade mean, JT? Anything that will enhance or make something more quality than the original maker provided is considered an upgrade. Maybe everybody definitions of an upgrade is different. Okay. So, however, this company have come along with or came up with numerous upgrades to this engine. Okay. Some I'm cool with, some I agree with, some I don't. Some I hate that they went there. Okay, what I mean by went there, first of all, I will be here all day explaining to you my dislike with this company as far as how they jumped on in the beginning as far as this problem. What I'm speaking about, number one issue with the 3.6 Pentastar is the oil leaks. Okay, we all know where the oil leaks come from. Okay, now this vehicle or this engine showed up in 2011. 2011, what, 12, 11, 12, 13 years ago? Anyway, when they designed this engine, they decided to use a oil cooler predominantly made of plastic. Okay, it turned out to be a bad idea. Not so much of a bad idea. I'm gonna tell you what was a bad idea. The quality of the material that they use. Now, everybody, not just FCA or Stellantis, not just them, going slowly moving to plastic parts. That's common on a lot of cars out there. Okay, when I saw the fuel rail eventually ended up being plastic on some vehicles, I know that's where we headed. Okay, so now you can argue that point all day long till you blue in the face. It's gonna happen. You can say I ain't buying nothing with plastic on it. You're just gonna be riding a bicycle at that point. Then my point is, a lot of things are being converted over to plastic now. At some point, quality will suffer. Okay. At some point, we will find out later that that may have been a bad idea. Case in point, this oil cooler I'm speaking about came out in 2011. Well, now in 2024, the rash of these oil pumps or oil coolers start hitting maybe 2010, 2011. Where we at? No, that's when it came out. 2021, 2020, maybe. Okay, that's when the boat. So that's a 10-year run. Now they was leaking. It just wasn't a big issue. Okay, because mostly it was all high mileage car. But now, these car guys, it's 10 million Pentastar 3.6 engines out there in the world circulating. Okay, so there's a lot. Okay, if you factor this thing from a percentage standpoint, there is a huge percentage of cars driving around on the road today with the 3.6 Pentastar engine. That's why when you hear problems out of this engine, you think it's plentiful. That's only because there's more of this car or this engine out there on the road. So you got to keep that in mind. It's a percentage thing. All right. Now, let me get on with the video. I'm going to play clips of this video and I'm going to dissect this video as we go along because, again, there's some things I disagree with. There's some things I simply don't disagree with. Who am I? I'm just here, just a little YouTuber giving my opinions. That's what I call them. That's what everything I say come out of my mouth is essentially my opinion. I do not work for Stellantis. I do not speak for Stellantis. I am, however, invested in the product. Okay, so the product have my best interest in mind. Hope I said that right. But yes, I have. Number one, first of all, I know everything about the product. Okay, so I need to keep afloat with the changes, the upgrade, everything everybody's trying to do to change the image of this engine. Because my opinion, it's not going anywhere no time soon. All right, let's get on with this video. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play this video in full. All right, and then I'm gonna chop it up and we're gonna talk about it in full. Okay, at least we're gonna discuss the things I have a problem with. Let's get it, man.
Hey, we're here with Chrysler's incredibly popular Pentastar engine, covered with our whole catalog of OE fix, upgrade, and replacement parts for these things. Right here is the crown jewel, this aluminum replacement oil filter housing. This is a huge upgrade for these engines, and almost all of them need it when the plastic oil filter housing inevitably cracks. Here we have the engine coolant crossover pipe. The plastic housing on these likes to become brittle and crack, but ours is redesigned with aluminum. And we also offer this entire timing cover kit that includes this piece. It's got all the stuff you need in one box. Coming around here to the manifolds, you can see we've got our exhaust manifold hardware kit. Chrysler's original hardware breaks during service. Now up here, you're gonna find the variable oil pump solenoid likes to give out on these Pentastars, and Chrysler wants you to buy an entire oil pump assembly. We'll sell you just the solenoid for another smart OE fix. Just a handful of parts, and this Pentastar will be like a completely different engine.
All right, guys, we back. Y'all saw the video. Okay, there's a lot of things I don't agree with. A lot of things, like I say, an upgrade is an upgrade. Okay, but we're gonna discuss this thing. We're gonna take it. We're gonna start from the top, and I'm gonna see which part I tend to, you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna give my opinion on. All right, let's get it, man.
Hey, we're here with Chrysler's incredibly popular Pentastar engine, covered with our whole catalog of OE fix, upgrade, and replacement parts for these things. Right here is the crown jewel, this aluminum replacement oil filter housing. This is a huge
All right, guys, the oil filter housing. Now, that is the biggest issue on this whole vehicle. That is why Dorman is as popular as they are. Okay, they jumped on the bandwagon. I told you before my beef I had with Dorman. They saw opening, they cashed in. I mean, you cannot fault the owners for sitting back waiting on, you know, an opportunity to jump into the fight. All right. If I had to say so, Stellantis may have, you know, slept on this. They may have dropped the ball on this. Okay, it's not a recall, and it's never going to be a recall, simply because it's not an unsafe failure, I want to say, so to speak. We can debate that all day long. But the cooler, from what I'm hearing, everybody likes the cooler simply because it's made of different material. Okay, I tell you what, they like it because it's not plastic. It's not made of plastic. Okay, now here's my deal with that. Here's my beef with that. The original cooler that came out in 2011, crappy material, I admit, crappy. It was plastic. It was crappy plastic. Okay, the coolers of today, which have been revised, redesigned, everything, so much better, guys. To the point now, everyone that I have replaced, I have not seen back. So here's the biggest issue out of all these. Remember, I just got through telling you these cars are now in the 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 mile range. So in other words, it's an older car. Here's my thing. Your very next cooler, whether it be a Dorman cooler or OEM Mopar cooler, will likely be your last cooler. Okay. Yeah, it's just a fact. These things, I mean, these new coolers now are going to give you at least 100,000 miles out of them. Now, you're doing yourself a disservice, or you're kidding yourself if you think your very next cooler going to last forever. All right. Every part has a lifespan to it. Okay. These coolers are no exception, no matter which one you choose. If you get this one right here, eventually at some point in time, it's going to fail because it has a lifespan to it. Same thing go for the OEM Mopar. I will say this is, if you replace either one, that's likely your last one. Now, let me look at the rest of this video and see what I have a problem with.
This is a huge upgrade for these engines, and almost all of them need it when the plastic oil filter housing inevitably cracks. Here we have the engine coolant crossover pipe. The plastic housing on these likes to become brittle and crack, but ours is redesigned with aluminum. And we also offer this entire timing cover kit that includes this piece. It's got all the stuff you need in one box. Coming around here to
wait a minute. The timing cover. Guys, why on earth are they upgrading the timing cover? All right, the timing cover on the original Pentastar is aluminum. I have never just, oh my goodness, the timing cover leaking. I've been around since this engine showed up. All right. Now I'm gonna cut the slack on the bypass valve, and they even got a thermostat housing made of aluminum. Why? I mean, We're not replacing thermostats because they're made of plastic or the housing are made of plastic. We're replacing thermostats because the thermostats are faulty. That happens. Okay, in other words, there was no need to redesign or illuminize. That's a JT word. The thermostat or the bypass valve. I replaced one bypass valve. That's because it was damaged. Okay, so they just jumped on the bandwagon. If they can convince you that the aluminum housing is trash from the get-go, everything else is trash. But we talking about a timing chain cover, guys. Why? What's the freaking point? It's already aluminum. All right, let me get to the last part, and then I got to go. I got to end this video.
Coming around here to the manifolds, you can see we've got our exhaust manifold hardware kit. Chrysler's original hardware breaks during service.
Whoa. They got this wrong, guys. Oh, my goodness. Guys, I have yet to replace a manifold because it breaks. The stud breaks. You know what they're thinking about? They're thinking about the Hemi. This is not the same engine as the Hemi. They got this engine confused with the freaking Hemi. I've been around this engine for the past decade. I have yet to replace a manifold or a stud for breaking. Okay? Again, guys, that is a Hemi problem. This engine is not a freaking Hemi. This is a V6. A Hemi is a V8. And yes, that Hemi had issues with the studs breaking. So they're trying to sneak one. They're trying to sneak one through the cracks. Okay? One more. Hold tight.
Now up here, you're going to find the variable oil pump solenoid likes to give out on these Pentastars, and Chrysler wants you to buy an entire oil pump assembly. We'll sell you just the solenoid for another smart OE fix. Just a handful of parts, and this Pentastar will be like a completely different engine.
All right, guys, we're going to end this on the solenoid. Now, I want y'all to understand something about this oil pump and that solenoid, okay? Guys, that solenoid is replaceable. True enough. Yes, it's replaceable. But it makes absolutely no sense to go through all that trouble to gain access to that oil pump just to take the solenoid off and put a Dorman solenoid on it. Okay, you got to go through the same amount of trouble to gain access to that solenoid as you would to replace that oil pump. Chances are this car got over 100,000 miles if you need a solenoid and or oil pump. Now, I admit the oil pumps are not technically the problem with P06DD or a code like that. It's the solenoid. This is a dual stage oil pump, guys. So in order to, adhere to both of those stages, that solenoid is needed. All right. So if that solenoid fail, it could render operation of your oil pump and your car could go in the limp-in mode. If that solenoid stick you at low oil pressure and you driving and the engine is demanding more oil pressure, yeah, you can go in the limp-in. That's like a fail-safe feature, the car trying to prevent you from damaging it. So it may try to go in the limp-in. Yes, the solenoids are a problem. They're problematic. However, I disagree with going to buy a Dorman solenoid just to take the old oil pump off and go in with a new one. Okay. But to each his own, a lot of it depends on your finances. So if you have the extra finance, I suggest you get a complete oil pump assembly from Mopar that happens to include the solenoid. Okay. It makes no sense to go through all that trouble to get that oil pump out and replace that solenoid. Chances are the oil pump is used. I mean, it's going to be used, but it's so much better, so much of a peace of mind with a new one, guys. All right, that's all I have. I don't want this video to be long. Okay, again, guys, let me reiterate. I have no problem with needed upgrades. Okay, unnecessary upgrades is, in my opinion, I'm against that. Timing chain cover, what the? Why? I don't know why. Because they see an opening. All right, the oil cooler, we'll debate that. We can debate that all day long. I personally, if you call me to fix your oil leaks, and you leave the choice up to me on which part to use, I'm going to go with OEM. Now, that doesn't mean if you have a suggestion on what, remember, I work for you at that point. If you call me and hire me to come over and fix your oil leaks, I'm going to suggest you get an OEM because in my opinion, JT, in my opinion, it's better than the competitors. All right. And that's from a standpoint of the flow rate going through it. Guys, the oil pump, the housing, the fixture of the oil cooler, it doesn't end right there. Okay. Quality reflects the operation of, what's going on inside that cooler, the flow rate, how much oil flowing through it and things like that. So all of that matters. those aftermarket companies, if they don't know the exact specs, they can't get it right. I'm take my chances, my bet with an OEM. But again, if you request me to use an aluminum one, I will most certainly do that. All right, you have my word. And your best interest is, at mine when I'm working on your car. I have your best interest in mind. That's all I have, man. That's all. Hey, no beef with the competitor company. That's, again, an upgrade is an upgrade if it's a needed upgrade. I gotta go. Thanks for watching.